What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE to make a major signing. Why was Roman Reigns wearing an arm sleeve on Raw? A shock title change on NXT. John Cena turns down Triple H's idea. Edge was not contacted for Cena's retirement. Joe Hendry signs a main roster deal, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Now let's see the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at WWE to make a major signing. Now my top story today takes a look at the WWE status of Dolph Ziggler, as after Raw this week, fans have collectively wondered if WWE will be re-signing the former world champion. Ziggler impressed in his match versus Solo Sikoa on Raw, and he received one of the largest reactions of the entire Raw broadcast. Due to his overwhelmingly positive fan response, logic would suggest that WWE wants to re-sign Ziggler. However, a new report indicates that that isn't the case. According to a new report from Fightful Select, Ziggler isn't going to be re-signed to WWE, and he's still signed with TNA. Another return to WWE happened, and the deal seems to be the same as last week's. Much like with Matt Cardona's Zack Ryder the week prior, WWE sources indicated to Fightful that Ziggler is not signed to a WWE contract. He is still considered to be with TNA and has worked on a series of short-term contracts. We were told by TNA sources that Nemeth has preferred that method after being locked down to WWE for so long. WWE was happy with his performance on Monday. Now, they could certainly reach out to Ziggler once his TNA contract expires, and this would be an extremely smart rehire, especially due to his reputation as a pro wrestler. The TNA working relationship has truly helped WWE across the John Cena tournament, as the Ziggler appearance wouldn't have been possible if he was signed to a company such as AEW. What's crazy is if you remember the John Cena's June 2025 promo on SmackDown, where he called out both Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth, as well as Claudia Castagnoli. Now, two of those three returns have happened. It's a shame that the Cesaro one didn't happen though. Next up, a WWE return kept top secret. Dolph Ziggler's WWE return was mostly kept under the wraps on Monday, and WWE went to great lengths to prevent Ziggler's return from leaking out. According to the man himself, during an appearance on Busted Open Radio, WWE would make him wear a ski mask and then have him hide in the arena for 6 hours. In 20 years, I got to watch so many people hide under the ring or sit on a bus somewhere. I never got to do the hiding. I had all black on and I put a ski mask over my face and sunglasses, and they pulled me into the loading dock inside of the building. And then I got walked in and I got to hide out for 5 or 6 hours. Ziggler would then share his gratitude for being involved in the John Cena tournament, especially with their established history as rivals. They could have me back for any show in any city and it would be cool and fun. I'm very fortunate to have something like the Cena tournament, and hey, you have history with this guy and you don't even have to force it. We have a genuine history. It's really cool. And also getting to be in Madison Square Garden, also getting to come back after 2 years, all these positions and be a surprise, all these different pieces all added up. It's hard to believe that Ziggler's match on Raw marked his 2023rd WWE match, making him one of the most featured pro wrestlers in WWE history. And if you want a real coincidence, 2023 was also the year that Dolph Ziggler faced Solo Sikoa on Raw. Next up, why Roman Reigns wore an arm sleeve on Raw. Roman Reigns made his dramatic return to WWE programming on Raw this week, and fans kinda noticed that Reigns was sporting an arm sleeve on one of his arms. Currently, there's no solid information in relation to why Reigns was wearing the sleeve, but we can certainly have a look at a few possibilities. Due to the sleeve being placed on Reigns' arm with his tattoos, it is possible that he's had his tattoos recently touched up and didn't want to get any damage on them, especially with the chaotic brawl that closed out Raw from Madison Square Garden. Some people have also mentioned the idea of Reigns getting more tattoos on that arm, but looking at the arm, there's no way you could fit anything more on there. Another potential reason is that Reigns is sporting some kind of injury. Reigns' arm sleeve was a compression style sleeve, so he could have been nursing a prior injury that took place before Raw. Now, it kinda seems unlikely that WWE would have had Reigns get so physical if he was hurt, but we definitely hope that Roman Reigns is okay. Next up, a shock title change on NXT. Jacy Jayne is once again the NXT Women's Champion. Last night on NXT Gold Rush, she defeated Tatum Paxley after the culling turned on the reigning champion. This sadly means that Paxley's reign just lasted 23 days, giving her the shortest reign since the inception of the title. Next up, John Cena to appear on NXT. John Cena will officially appear on NXT TV next week in some capacity. On week 1 of the NXT Gold Rush, a video package aired featuring Ava Raine, who announced that the reigning IC champion will appear on week 2 of Gold Rush. During the appearance, WWE's resident GOAT will select both the men and women's Iron Survivor Challenge competitors. Now, it is worth noting that this is likely going to be a pre-recorded vignette and won't be an official in-person appearance from Cena. Nevertheless, Cena working with NXT is great to see, and this is no doubt his idea to be part of the Iron Survivor announcement. Next up, John Cena rejected Triple H's idea. John Cena appeared on the Raw recap show this week, and he pulled back the curtain on the creative process behind his final match. According to Cena, the initial plan from Triple H was for the Saturday night's main event special next month to act as a tribute show, but Cena rejected this idea. I really want to take my hat off to Triple H. I called him up and said, I've got an idea. We've got to do 2 hours for the show, and if you do a whole John Cena tribute, 2 things are going to happen. You'll either do too much or too little, and you won't please everybody. So I rejected the idea. This is when Cena suggested the exhibition matches featuring NXT talent. Instead, I said I'd like to propose that we have a big-name WWE superstars in exhibition matches against the brightest talents in NXT. That way we have a sold-out building, hopefully the world is watching Saturday night's main event and get to wrestle one final time, and everyone else gets a look at what they can look forward to. Yes, it's my last match, but collectively we're all closing a chapter in sports entertainment. Now, this is the first time during Cena's final run that he's admitted that he's turned down an element of Triple H's creative. Fans firmly believe that Cena has been disappointed with a lot of the WWE creative in 2025, and it's easy to see why. Triple H has made a habit of blaming Cena for certain booking calls, and he's outright claimed that Cena is booking his final run. Cena has outright denied this, so fans believe that the game is trying to pass the blame for a lackluster final run for Cena. But Cena also mentioned in the Raw recap that he's not going out on his own terms, and he has to walk away. I'm not going out on my own terms. If I could do this in infinity, I would do it. I made a promise to the fan base when I started that when I got a step slower, I gotta walk away. And the sad thing is us as fans see that and be like, but you got so much left. Yeah, I could probably squeeze out more matches, but at what cost? I do harm to myself, I do harm to the product, and you as fans who allowed me the opportunity for over 2 decades to spend time with you, you leave feeling bad or sad. No, I want everyone to be happy. Well, this is such a great statement, as many wrestlers don't feel that they can just leave the business. With Cena, he's definitely got a more lucrative career in Hollywood, but he understands that he'd be robbing the fans if he couldn't perform right. Next up was Edge contact for Cena's retirement. Speaking of Cena, Tony Khan has finally addressed whether WWE reached out to him in relation to bringing Edge in for one final match versus Cena. During an interview with Ariel Helwani, Khan confirms that WWE didn't reach out to him to use Edge for a one-time only appearance, and Khan confirms that the WWE Hall of Famer remains under AEW contract. Never say never in wrestling, because I would imagine they could always extend John Cena's date past the end of the year. But no, Adam's going to be here with us through the year. Adam Copeland is a huge part of AEW, and I have so much respect for him. I really like Adam a lot, and I'm gonna have to have him here. Even though he's away filming, he's still with us, and will continue to be. It's been widely reported that Edge is under AEW contract way into 2026, and it would have been a momentous news story if WWE had reached out to AEW and Khan. Whilst Edge isn't set to be part of Cena's retirement year, it's entirely possible he attends Cena's Hall of Fame induction. It was reported yesterday that Cena is set to headline the 2026 Hall of Fame class, and AEW would surely let Edge attend this event. Next up, Tony Khan talks WWE counter-programming. Now, over the past few years, WWE has been keen to counter-program AEW any chance they can get. Now, Tony Khan has addressed this during the Ariel Helwani interview, and according to Khan, WWE are totally doing it on purpose, but he acknowledges that it's just part of pro wrestling. I do think it's done on purpose, and I understand it, and it's part of wrestling. I think we've seen a lot of it, but I think other wrestling promotions that have been the challenger wrestling brand in our lifetime have seen a lot of it. Jim Crockett Promotions, which was the forerunner to WCW, saw a lot of this. I do think that we've seen this kind of counter-programming and those things, and I understand, and looking back at wrestling history, kind of expect that. But this is an incredibly mature take on the situation from Khan, and he deserves a ton of credit for acknowledging the history of the counter-programming within pro wrestling itself. With that being said, WWE has been heavily criticized in 2025 for relying on this business practice. Numerous events have been scheduled to compete with AEW, and it's been done whilst the WWE product has failed to capture the imagination of the audience. If they were doing this whilst both companies were red hot, it would seem somewhat understandable. But AEW isn't the juggernaut it once was, so they're acting out of total pettiness, and there's no need for it. WWE needs to concentrate on their own product, and they don't need to be worried about the shows and the content that AEW are producing. But whilst we're on the subject of Tony Khan, he made a tremendous gesture to one of his wrestlers. Rebel, who recently revealed that she's been diagnosed with lung cancer, had been reached out to by Tony Khan, who sent her a gift basket and a message. Next up, an emotional Eddie Guerrero day. Now, in the city of El Paso, November 18 had been officially declared Eddie Guerrero Day, honoring the WWE legend. Now, the day was marked by an emotional speech from his daughter Sherilyn Guerrero, who accepted the proclamation on behalf of her father's legacy. She opened up by acknowledging the city's leadership, its mayor and council members who made the day possible, and extended thanks to those present and those watching online. She conveyed how Eddie would light up whenever returning home and how he embraced the people and culture of the region, whether he was visiting or just simply driving around. She spoke of the quiet moments there watching sunsets, spending time with family, and how he stood for the people of the region across borders and communities. She's also committed to carrying forward the Guerrero legacy in her own wrestling career, to not only honor her father's in-ring achievements, but to reflect on who he was outside of the ring. Eddie's spirit lives on in El Paso, a city he deeply loved. Next up, WWE producing a women's WrestleMania ad. It appears that WWE's listened to the feedback from fans and will be producing a WrestleMania 42 commercial for the women. When the initial WrestleMania 42 ad dropped earlier in the month, fans were disappointed that not a single woman was featured in it. The WWE were filming a commercial of some kind with the women in New York yesterday, and the women featured included Jade Cargill, Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, and Tiffany Stratton. It's unclear if this commercial was always planned, however this is definitely the right thing to do, as WWE has so many women over at the same time and they need to be spotlighted, especially when it comes to the biggest show of the calendar year. And finally, Joe Hendry signed a main roster deal. Our final story today takes a look at Joe Hendry's WWE contract, and it's finally been revealed that Hendry has signed a main roster deal. Last week it was reported that Hendry had signed with WWE, however it was widely claimed that he was on an NXT contract. However, according to the latest Fightful Q&A offering, Hendry is indeed on a main roster level contract. Well, he's on a main roster level deal from what I understand. By that I mean making above the main roster minimum. I think with him coming in, we're likely to see a Ricky Saints or Ethan Page move up, and then Hendry is the next guy up on NXT with familiarity outside of WWE. But that's just a hunch. I think it will be Mr. Iguana-esque where he pops up here and there as well. Now you have to assume that if Hendry is on a main roster deal, his NXT run is going to be very short and sweet. There's concern that once names such as Ricky Saints, Obafemi, and the aforementioned Hendry are called up, NXT is really going to struggle with top names on the roster, so this is something that NXT management is going to need to address sooner rather than later. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.